My Umamusume experience has been nothing but pain with me losing my career races back to back with Gold Chip and Rice Shower, but thankfully I somehow managed to get a single copy of the legendary Kita-san black card that Japanese players have talked about for years. So with my Kita-san in hand, I placed it on my Condor Pasa and started her career mode. I did research for 2 minutes what I needed to train her in, and so I hard focused on her speed and stamina. The reason for this is because she's a pace chaser that excels in mile races, so as long as her speed and stamina are high enough, she should have no problem overcoming any obstacle in her way. So after 11 days of hard training, it was finally time for Condor Pasa's debut race. With her one fan and the greatest trainer the Umas have ever known, Condor Pasa made her way to the junior debut race. She started out extremely strong. She remained in second place pretty much the entire time. She closely followed behind first with ease. None of the other girls were even close to passing her or first place. And then at the very end, she activated her skill and overtook first and left everyone in the dust. Now with her first win, we forced the other girls to be her backup dancers and gained 1,200 new fans. This allowed her to focus on her training and not other minor races in order to gain new fans to meet the goal in order to be allowed to race in the next race. So with that, we continued our speed and stamina training for the next couple of days, and then finally came the G3 Kyoto New High race, where much like her debut, Condor Pasa started out strong, taking a 5th place position early on, staying behind the frontrunners for most of the race. She did drift into 6th place for just a second, but immediately bolted ahead, passing 4th place before passing 2nd place, and then once again activating that skill at the very end and making Daddy proud. This has now allowed her to gain tons of new fans, letting us again focus more on her training in preparation for the next race. For this next race, we had 5 days and used them to lock in on our speed. Condor did end up getting inspired during this time, and her stats went up without me needing to even do anything. But here, one day before our race, I made a risky play and let her train speed while having a 29% failure rate. Normally, I'd rest here, but since it was the final day, I wanted to get as much training in as possible, but it backfired and she failed the training, bringing her mood down from great to just good, which isn't that big of a deal, but it still sucked that she failed. Now, with that failure on both of our minds, we headed out to our toughest race yet, the NHK Mile Cup. Thankfully, this is a mile race, and as I mentioned earlier, Condor excels in these, and so much like the previous races, she started out strong yet again. She was in 4th place for pretty much this entire race, and at the end, she just barely managed to get into 3rd, so I was getting a little worried. I really thought that losing out on that final day of training and causing Condor Pasa to fail and injure herself would lose us this race. But right at the end, she pulled ahead, and the race ended in a nail-biter with me honestly not even knowing who passed the finish line first. Condor Pasa was neck and neck with Nishino Flower, but despite failing her final day of training and not being in the greatest possible mood, Condor Pasa took first place, and for once, I finally got a new concert. This is the furthest I have ever gotten with a horse. We've secured 17,000 new fans and could go on to train without needing to worry about those minor races again. But then it hit us. Condor's next race, the Tokyo Yushun, was being held right away. I don't know why or how this happened, but we had no time to prepare for the next race. I had no more skill points to allocate. We had nothing we could do to prepare for this, but we had to push forward. Condor entered this race with her head held high and ready to take on the world. She started out strong, pushing herself all the way to 5th place, but would quickly fall behind to 11th and remain there the entire time until falling even further behind at the very end, finishing out the race in 13th place and ending her career in confusion. But at the very least, Condor never gave up and got me further than anyone had before, so for that, I say she's an amazing horse.